Well, folks, how are you today? This evening, this is Javier Nozueta. Welcome to Learn CNC with Javi. I think I'm on episode 26. I may be wrong. But good evening, one and all. And if you'll excuse me for looking over, I've got the chat on a completely different computer today. So I'll be glancing over there every now and then. Just wait a minute or two until 8 o'clock and let the stragglers join us. We're going to be making boxes today. We're going to have some fun. And I know many of you think boxes with a CNC, that's a little overrated, isn't it? I mean, you could just cut a bunch of pieces on a table saw. And rectangles, that's pretty simple to cut. Table saw, miter saw. Well, the kind of boxes that I'm going to make here, or that I've made before, I love using this method on the CNC, is you take a 90-degree V-bit. Here, I'm gonna just drop the lead here. A 90-degree V-bit, and we're going to carve out at precise heights the indentations or whatever. We're basically going to carve out of one piece of wood, so all we have to do is just fold up four sides, glue them, and you're done. I got another treat later in the evening. We're going to make a different kind of box. You'll see what I'm talking about. But let's see what we got. Miguel is asking why I am not there. Where am I not? That's my cousin Miguel. January 18th is let's see. Is the ham show tonight? If it is, I will be dropping by tomorrow for sure. Please let me know, because I've been looking forward to it, but I haven't seen a single piece of news on it. I've been pretty busy with, everything. All right, so let's get started, and let's go ahead and create a new file like we normally do. And we're going to make this, I don't know, let's give it a nice big area of 24 inches by 24 inches. And it's going to be plywood, so it's going to be 0.75, at least nominally 0.75. Now, for those of you that are, have work with Baltic birch and other types of plywood, you know, sometimes it's 0.69, 0.75, 0.72, 0.73. Sometimes even 0.80. You never know what the thickness is. Well, what I like to do is I like to work with, most of the time it's less than 0.75. So I put 3/4 inches as the height. And I like to work off the bottom of the the zero. I like to be on the machine bed. So I'll zero it. It's got to be very, very precise. So either you have a very, very precise caliper and make sure it's right throughout, or go off the machine bed and make sure your bed is flat, because this is important for this particular procedure, if you will. Let me just click OK here. All right, so now let's do it quick and dirty. Now we're going to make a box, say a 12 by 12 box with 6-inch, what do you say? We make a 12 by 12 box with 6-inch, 6 inches high. So it's 12 by 12 by 6, just out of a 24 by 24 piece of wood. And how do you calculate it? Well, it's real simple. And first I'm going to do it, and then I'll show you what I did. Basically, I'm going to go to the center of the piece, which is 12-12. So the anchor point will be at 12, 12. I'm going to create 2 rectangles. And it's as simple as that. The rectangles will be regular squares. One of them will be a width of 24 and a height of 12. Create. And the other one will be a width of 12 and a height of 24. Create. There we go. We just created our box. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention, if we were right now to just run a V-bit basically across all of both rectangles, just a shade higher than the plywood, than the skin of the plywood, and then another V-bit just on the corners, right to 0. Imagine what we have. We're going to have a 90-degree V-groove here. So guess what? This top can fold up, and all you got to do is add a little bit of glue. The outside, the bottom, like I said, you're just a hair off the top, so you're going to have a slight layer of plywood. For those of you who have ever who've ever made kerf cuts to bend a piece of plywood, and you go and you do a kerf cut almost all the way down to the last ply, then this is very, very similar. I'm taking a V-groove bit, and let me just show you how it would look with a simple V-groove bit, so you might get a better idea. I'm going to do a profile cut on all the sides, and it will be with a 90-degree V-bit. And if you'll bear with me for a second, I'm going to look at the chat, because I know people have been asking questions. Nope, they haven't. Let's see. 45 plus or minus 7. I like that. All right. Okay, the Hamfest is February 6th, 7th, and 8th. Thanks, Migs. I am definitely going to. I'm definitely going to the Hamfest. I will be. For those of you following my Make Room for Javi series, I'm going to be going up. You said 6th, 7th, and 8th? That's February 6th, 7th, and 8th. Okay. 6th, 7th, 8th. That's Wednesday through Friday. Please confirm that. Or do you mean 8, 9, and 10? February 6th, 7th, 8th. Oh. Well, if it is, either way, I'll be... No, oh, wait. I didn't go back enough. Hang on a second. Pardon me. An RV show. Ooh, Tampa. Well, I'll be up that way just the week before, so it's actually going to be pardon this little segue, folks. I'll be up at the property from the probably from Wednesday to Wednesday, from 30th through the 6th. So I don't think I'll make it over to the RV show. But anyway, back to the box, if you will. So if I did my job correctly here, we will... Nope, I didn't, apparently. What the heck did I do? Oh, I know what I did. I did outside. Let's do on instead. There we go. Okay. Now, so we're cutting all the way down in this case. We'll fix that in a second. But right now, for the moment, let me show you what happens if we cut all the way down. So you'll notice we have basically parts of a box. If this thing would stop moving. There we go. So I'll get rid of these, and there you go. You've got a box. You'll notice this piece folds up here, this piece folds up here, this one folds up here, and this piece folds up here. All right, we got to do a little bit of tweaking. Why? Because we don't want curved, unless you like chamfered corners from the inside at the edge of the box, which could be nice if you create another top like this for the top. So it's your call. However, the box that I want to create is just a simple square box. In fact, we will take and use our little minus tool here. Where's our... There we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted to cut. I want to cut a segment. So bear with me. There we go. Now we get rid of a segment. Choose that. Choose the node tool. Get rid of the... Delete the span. So we can use the D key right here. Boom. We've deleted that span. Oops. I didn't want to do that. There. We've deleted that span. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll delete that span. So now we have basically, well, a box. Now here's what I'm going to do with this in addition to this. I'm going to separate these 4 spans here. And I'll do it real simply. I'll just... I'm going to just cut them off. And I'm going to go here and create another box. And it's going to be 12 by 12. I mean 12, 12 in the center and 12 by 12. So I've in essence created 2 different shapes. So what we have here, profile number 1, will be this box, and it'll go down to point, let's call it 7.2. So we'll leave 3/100 of an inch at the bottom. Calculate, and then we will duplicate this. And the second one will actually, I'm holding the shift key down, selecting everything, and it just unselected this and selected the rest. And then we click calculate. Oops. That's at 0.75. So now here's what I did. In essence, what I've done is, after I reset everything, this square box here is leaving the skin underneath, so you can fold these up. This piece, oops, sorry. Well, this piece should delete, but it's not deleting for some reason or another. But that's a problem with the program, not the design. But this piece here, this piece here, this piece here, and this piece here were cut with a V-groove all the way down. So now what you got is a skin holding these 4. Basically, you got a box. You're gonna see a cross here. Now you can go one step further if you like, and let's make a box with a lid. How's that? We could yeah. Let's save this one, because that's our box. We're done with that. And you could use the same technique. All you got to do is just calculate the inner and outer surface lengths, and you could make say a 13.5 by 13.5 lid, or rather a box with a 1-inch height, because as you'll see here, this is 12 by 12 by 6 high. You can make a 13 by 13, 13 and a half by 13 and a half by 1 high and use that as your lid if you like, although that'd be a very ugly lid. Or do the same technique with a 1/4 inch piece, or there's 100 different ways. And here's another way. Another way is the following. We will take and let's do a box and lid all in one. So we'll draw the rectangle again. We'll start at 12 by 12. This time I'm going to have the height is going to be 6 inches. The width is going to be 24. So there's the whole length of it. Now we're going to make it nice and easy. We're going to make a 6 inch by 6 inch box. So now, bear with me, I have to scan the, there we go. And let me catch up on the things here. Jim Bashir's an answer to your question. The Hamfest is a hamboree or a flea market for electronics is the easiest way I can explain it. It's for ham radio operators, for amateur radio operators. And it's been going on for years. Back in the late 90s, I was in charge of 1,200 tables, swap shop. And then my cousin, oddly enough, it's so funny because I left the club years ago. I thought they stopped having them because I didn't hear any news, and with cell phones, just ham radios were not as popular. My cousin, 10 years later, lets me know that there's a show, and he was in charge of it. That was just, I guess, ham swap shop leadership runs in the blood. But it's so funny. Welcome, Patrick. And let's see. Oh, you ran the Mars equipment in the Air Force? That's pretty cool. My cousin had the pleasure of talking to the ISS some time ago. That was a rather... well, you can explain that, Miggs, if you're still here. Let me see. Now, what the cross box that I'm going to make, I'm going to do at... This is going to be... let me see if I can do this calculation off the top of my head. Now, I'm making a... how big is this? This is a 6-inch box. So I'm making a 6-inch by... I'm basically going to make a 6-inch by 6-inch cube. So I'm going to have to create... Well, let's just go here. Bottom left will be at 6 inches. And you know what? It's easier this way. X will be 9. Y will be 12. And it'll be 6 by 24. So, no, 6 times 3 is 18, I think. I don't know. I think let's take a guess here and see if it's right. Looks right. And then we'll do one more, which is a square at 24 minus 3, so it's 21. And it'll be 6 by 6. Let's see if I get it right. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so for those of you who have ever put a box together, this is a box. So you get the general idea. Let me zoom in. Yeah, center that. You get the general idea. Oh, this mouse. Okay. The size bit I'm using is going to be I have a 1-inch 90-degree V bit. Now, if you happen not to have a 90-degree V bit big enough or rather to go the full length, then I suggest you use a half-inch V bit, 90-degree V bit on half-inch wood, or I mean, because this works because you have the bit. You can also use a V bit. It takes a lot more work, and it's almost not worth it because this is a very simple operation. But if you wanted to, you could actually use a half-inch V-bit. It'll plunge down to the length you set it, but then you have to calculate where the rest of the, on the sides. So you could always use another way of doing it is creating, say, like a box that is exactly the width that you need for, and do a V-carve. So it will essentially do a, centered on this line, it will do a V-carve, and so it produces the same effect with a smaller bit. The only tough part is you got to calculate the width of this. And the width is fairly easy to calculate since it's going to be the height. So let's say you want to make a 0.72 depth cut. You will then take the 0.72 and multiply it times 2. And so you will get, 1.44, but here, I'll do it for all you guys that like to use a calculator. Oops. Use a calculator the right way, I should say, times 2. 1.44 is the width of the rectangle, and you can actually extend the rectangle over the piece, and it will, in essence, here, let's do an example of that, shall we, now that we're here? We got the time. So I am going to pretend that I only have a half-inch. I don't know. It could work with any size V-bit. Because at this point, you're V-carving. And if you V-carve to a certain depth, that's not an issue. It'll just continually layer the... but you might not get as crisp a cut on the thing. So let's see how we would do this. So from here we would go, the height would be 1.4. Ooh, I came close. 1.44. It would be centered at y equals 15. At 9, and it would be 6 inches wide. See, I like to draw it for myself, and that way I get really close and I know the numbers are that. Boom. So there's one of them. Here's another one. The other one goes right here. And again, that would be 1.44. This would be 6. And in this case, it would be 9 and 9. And apply. Boom. And then we have another one here. So in this case, it would be 6, 12, 1.44 on this side, and 6 for the height. Apply. So if it's a little confusing, we'll carve it out and I'll explain exactly what I'm doing here. 1.44, 6, this will be 12, and this will be 12. All right, I'll just do these 4. Right now, if I were to, actually, telling you, the mouse is quite annoying. So let's take these 4, and this will be a toolpath. And it'll be a V-carve toolpath. So all we need to do is the flat depth. We're not going to put a flat depth, so we're just going to go boom, no flat depth, and calculate. At this point, something's wrong here. Hang on a second. I chose all 4. That's acting a little quirky, so let me see if I do it a different way. Which is, I'm gonna... Oh, I know why. Let's change that V-bit to... we don't have one, so... Oh, yeah, here it is. V-bit, a 1/2 inch. And... let's see. Bear with me. Let me catch up on the chat. Can I make the top overlap when flat with a dado at the edge as well? Yes. You mean like, Miguel, are you saying like that tool that guy invented, that saw blade that has like a V-bit and a dado? If so, yes, but it'll take a bit more planning here. Okay. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do 2 of them. Because duplicate. It would be, I think the problem is that they're overlapping with each other. So I'm just going to do these 2. Calculate. And then on this one, I'm going to do these 2. And calculate. Sometimes you got to fiddle around with the program, but there you go. That's exactly what I wanted. So for the inside, and reset preview all toolpaths, this is what I'm going to get. So as you see, I've got the inside covered. Now what I got to do is, so right, obviously it's, I've got to go a little further. So this is going to go... Okay. We're going to go ahead and extend this. If my mouse would stop moving. We're going to go extend this to here and to here. So if we scale it, I just want to make sure this can actually... Yeah. No, that's fine. And then these 2, we're going to go ahead and... scale them as well. All the way up to the edges. Because what's happening is I'm not getting the overlap. And this way I will. So this... just go ahead and calculate all toolpaths. And... so there's our square. Now, all we have to do now is create the same V-carve, but this time it's going to be wider. The V-carve is actually going to be... it's going to start from here. Let me just duplicate this. Every one of these lines, and again, this gets a little complicated, but this is for those of you who do not have a 1-inch V-bit, who are stuck with, say, even a 1/4 inch V-bit will do this. It doesn't matter It doesn't matter what size V-bit, because when you V-carve something, you'll notice that this is actually 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch deep. If your bit is 1/2 inch, clearly a 1/2 inch bit will create a flat sides if you're gonna drop it down here, because it's only 1/2 inch wide. It'll create the V-carve if you go all the way down, or if you only go to the surface, it'll only go down 1/2 an inch. So this will, using the V-carve function, will layer it. Will basically start here. It'll carve the inside. It'll carve the outside. It'll do one each at a time, and then it'll go down and do the depth. The end result will be this. It will be the inside of the box that you have. Now, if you take this same thing, let me duplicate it, and send it over here to this piece. Make sure it's at 18 and 12. There it is. And let's say, okay, so we now have this box, and here's the lid. So we have all 4 sides and the lid. The only thing we don't have is, come on, why are you being such a pain? There we go. The only thing we're missing is, let's go ahead and take these 2 here, copy, paste, and copy, paste. Again, this is a lot of work, and if you're just making one box, it's definitely not worth it. Copy, paste. You have to do what I am doing here. I'm sorry, this one's not needed, and neither is this one. Copy, paste. You have to calculate where in the world the V-bit is going to fall, because these are going to be different. These on the sides here that I have, this one, and I'm going to copy and paste it down here. And these two, basically it's going to be, let me highlight them for you so you know which ones I'm talking about. We're doing the same thing we did with the box, but now we're doing, at the same time we do a V-carve on the inside of this box, we're going all the way down. So every single one of these has to be, you guessed it, 1.5 inches thick. So let's go to, let's see what we got here. And yes, the vectors are overlapping, but that's not going to be an issue. I mean, it will be an issue, but so this gets to be a bit hairy, because when you have a V-carve, let's see. Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult, because you're either going to have a tiny little, if you create this thing, you know what, the easiest thing to do is just at this point is make them all 1.5 inches, and just do the simple four simple things. Cut out the blocks and make sure you have tape underneath to glue them together, because honestly, if you don't have a deep enough V-bit, then you can't really do what I'm planning, because you'll have this particular layer will go down here, but the problem happens right here. It'll cut down 0.75 inches away from this. It'll cut down to here. But now this piece, the one that was cut with this and the one that was cut with this, are going to be at two completely different widths. So you're going to have an overlapping piece, an overlapping gap in your box, and that's not good. So the only other thing you can do, aside from what I would suggest, is the following. Go back to the original here. And make this all the way. In fact, it could be longer, it doesn't matter. And this as long as it can be. It's got to overlap, so we'll make our workspace bigger. And after you do that, you'll have all your pieces cut out. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay, so oh yeah, I wanted to do it in two pieces. So this, and this. Calculate. V-carve. These two. Calculate. And then the only other solution is you have to cut the box yourself. So when you finally get your little box cut, and you'll have to do a simple. And let me see if I can do that here. We'll do a simple outline cut, profile cut. So we'll take the original piece. We shall unite it and do a simple profile cut. And like you said, half inch thick wood. Like I said earlier, that's the best way to do this. This is going to be with an end mill. Just make a 0.125 end mill. Did I put it on the outside, outside, and calculate. So, boom, we did that. We got that, and we got that. So there's our simple box. The only problem with this particular box is that if you look closely, right around, well, it looks pretty darn good. Well, I used a very, very small bit. But if you look closely, if I can get the right, come on, stop it, Windows. Nope, I guess you can't see it from here. Let me try it with a wider bit, because right now I've got an 1/8 inch bit. I guess it's okay with an 1/8 inch bit. You got there should be little curves, little fillets here, made by the edge of the bit, so you will have a bit of an issue. You will have a couple little nibbly bits to sand down. Now, what I would recommend, I mean, not what I would, that's it. That's a nice way to do it. Now you have yourself a box, and if you wanted to, you could actually just break this piece off, and you'll have a top. Actually, yeah, you'll have a top with one side. No, yes, 4 sides. Yep, that's the only thing missing. You have to have, I would do a V-bit here and a V-bit here for the top. That's one thing that I missed. And on these edges. So, measure twice, think twice, cut once, whatever. Now, what I wanted to, the next one that I wanted to do, I'm just going to leave for another day because it's a little bit more difficult to understand. If you're, imagine if you will, this same exact piece where this piece is, where the side pieces are, let me see if I can, no, I can't pull one out, but I know many of you have seen those little bins, all different size bins where the top comes down at like a 30-degree angle. Sometimes it actually comes up at a 45-degree angle, the very edge of it. Here, let me switch the camera to me. I wonder, actually, you may be able to see it. If you look back behind the Clorox bottle, right up over here, I've got a few hanging bins. They're actually hanging in a closet on a French cleat, and just simple woods that I made. Now, Harbor Freight and all these places that they sell these little plastic bins, where you could easily make one out of 1/2-inch plywood with very inexpensively. You could mass produce these things for your shop as drawers, and in order for small pieces not to get cramped in the box, there we go. Let's say we have a box, and it's a simple box. In order for the bin, obviously it will be higher over here and it'll have a nice opening. This often has a 45-degree slice on the bottom. Well, imagine, if you will, and, use your imagination, because it's a simple thing to make this profile with a 45-degree cut and come back up. And obviously it'll be higher over here and it'll come down at a 45-degree angle. So this will be the front where you can put a label, and you'll have a 45-degree notch. So in order, when you get your fingers in there, it'll be easy to pick up any screws or anything like that. And now, if you have a 45-degree angle, you'll have 145 and a 45. Well, then the solution is simple. You could do the same technique that I'm using here, except use a 45-degree V-bit here and here, and it will actually create the same effect as 190, but with two pieces. Similarly, if you go crazy, use a 22.5-degree V-bit and make a bunch of them, or for that matter, you could make a rounded edge. Well, let's see. And yeah, you could definitely, Todd, you could definitely do it in plastic. Nice and easy. And just catching up on my chat room here. And thanks, Kevin. Yeah, the vectors were definitely overlapping. And yeah, it's a lot easier if you have a larger bit. It's that simple. I mean, because then everything will fit nice and easy. I've got a 1-inch bit for myself, so it's not worth it. Now, I've been toying with the idea. Let me see if it's at all possible. That person that made, I forgot his name, the person that created a one of those box jig blades. I mean, those box blades, you've seen it. Many of you, if not all of you, have seen it. It's got like a notch, and then it goes up, and then it does the V-bit, and then and back down. It's very, it would be relatively simple to reproduce, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Because no matter what, the saw blade comes from the bottom, so it's just a simple matter of having a small size V-bit. In that case, you would use a small V-bit, and you would use an end mill next to it. and you just have to make sure that all your edges are you have the end mill on the proper side of the bit. No, it's just that it's that simple for the most part. Making boxes, I mean, and the only reason why we're going through the trouble of using a V-bit or something like that is so you could have some nice pristine edges on the boxes. Because, I mean, for most boxes, like the ones I got there, it's just, just the face of it, slap it on there. That's the only side people be seeing. The rest of it, who cares? It's the plywood. It looks nice. Depends what people think. Now, if you want to get really, really fancy and intricate, well, use a CNC and go through the trouble. Otherwise, that's what table saws are for. Well, with that, I believe... Yeah, Andrew Klein. Thank you, Patrick. And I believe with that, we're going to leave it here. So I got a long night ahead of me of editing videos. So y'all have a great evening. Well, let me ask you this. Are there any questions? Do you have any requests for a future show? Or for something you want to see in a future show? Or for or anything I can do for you now in 5 or 10 minutes? Let me know. Place it in the chat room. And I'll be happy to... oblige. Let me see... In the meantime, let me pull up that blade for those of you who haven't seen it. So, let's see if I can find an image of it. Yeah, here we go. So this, folks, is what I was talking about as far as doing this on the CNC. You'll notice he basically used one blade, and this is the blade, by the way. And it's a pretty darn big blade. And you've got a dado stack that goes along with it to create this cut. So something similar to this. They actually sell a router blade that creates a cut on a piece of plywood. If you use on a router table, that you could get a similar effect. But... I mean, his original one had a little bit of a gap, so, we could easily fix that, but that's basically it. It's nothing more than a V-bit and profiles. And it'll be a nice little thing to play around with. So, folks, I'll catch you later. You guys have a wonderful week, and... let's see, what's next week? Next week is the 25th. Yep, I'll still be here, so I'll see y'all next week, and we'll come up with something interesting. Again, send me messages or leave comments, thumbs up, and anything you want to see in a future show, and I'll be happy to oblige. In the meantime, I will catch y'all later. You have a wonderful week, and thank you for stopping by.